I retired 10 years ago at 39. No, I didn't have $2 million. No, I don't have a pension. And yes, my wife and I travel for 5 months a year. In this video, I'm telling you exactly how I did it, what we spend, and the one thing that I do differently. If you're between 40 and 62, still planning to work until 65, this video may change that plan forever. So, okay, one of the questions that I get asked the most, comments, in person, whatever, is how much I actually had when I retired. And at first, I just told people the real number, roughly $700,000. That's it. But over time, I started rounding it up a little bit. Not by a ton, but I'd say just under $1 million or around $1 million. Because when I said $700,000, people they didn't believe me. I'd watch it happen on their face. This little math problem going on behind their eyes. And it usually landed somewhere between no way and feeling sorry for me. See, here's the thing, it actually took me years to realize. That reaction was never really about my number. It was about theirs. The number that they got stuck in their head. $2 million, $3 million, whatever some online calculator spit out. Or they just absorbed it from ads, from advisors, from Yahoo articles, from gurus like Susie Orman, from this whole culture that sells you safety by the decimal point. So when I said 700,000 and somebody's stomach tightened up, I wasn't watching them judge me. I was watching them run into their own fear. I didn't even realize this at first, honestly. I just noticed that I felt weird seeing the real number, so I started rounding it up to make the other person more comfortable. And it took me a while to actually figure that out, that I was managing their anxiety, not mine. And once I saw that, the whole "how much do you need" question stopped feeling like math. It started feeling like this fear dressed up as a number, something that most people never actually calculated on their own. They just picked up some number from somewhere and they just never questioned it. Real quick, if this video is making you think even a little bit differently about your retirement number, go ahead and subscribe. These are the sorts of things that I talk about on this channel. But here's the thing. A lot of people get stuck only looking at one number, their net worth, their portfolio balance, and that's really only half the equation. See, I've been retired 10 years now. 10 years, one withdrawal rate, sitting roughly around 2.5% the whole time. Through COVID, through the entire inflation thing that's made grocery runs feel like a tiny little nightmare, through every single, okay, this is the moment that breaks, scare, and the number just stayed pretty much the same. And that's the part that too many people skip over when they hear early retirement. They assume that it's a story about getting rich enough, early enough, and mine really isn't. I never cracked 6 figures in my life. In fact, the best year that I ever had was around $75,000. No pension, no crypto jackpot, no lucky stock options, nothing like that. Just 10 years of the same math holding up under real pressure. And here's why that actually matters. The reason why this video is worth 15 minutes of your time isn't that somehow I beat the system. It's that I never had enough of a cushion to cheat it, even if I wanted to. Which means that whatever worked because of behavior, not because I had some huge safety net underneath me. And that changes what you're allowed to think is possible for yourself, you know? So if it wasn't a big income or an inheritance that made this whole thing work, what was actually doing all the heavy lifting here? Well, before the spreadsheets, there were 17 years working for car dealerships, helping them get their inventory listed online. Not glamorous, not even close. Standing outside in January, freezing my butt off, while some dealers yelling at me because there's snow in his car photos. Managing a team where their numbers or their poor performance hit my paycheck directly. Doing whatever corporate told me to do, even when I knew that there was a better way. And honestly, the cold wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the feeling like I had zero control over anything. What I didn't get until way later is that job wasn't just something that I wanted out of. It was quietly teaching me exactly what freedom needed to look like for me. Every Sunday night, that dread wasn't, ugh, I gotta work tomorrow. It was basically my body taking notes. unpredictable income tied to other people's performance, no control over my environment, no control over who I had to deal with, things that mattered way more than the general misery of the job itself. And I think most people who dream about quitting, they never get that specific. They just want out, and out is too vague to actually build anything around. See, I had a real list, exact conditions that I refused to live inside of anymore. And that list, more than any spreadsheet, is honestly what pointed me toward early retirement. That frustration didn't just make me want to leave. It pushed me toward a saving rate that most people would find insane. 70% of my income saved for 11 years. And yeah, that included paying off the house completely. When I tell people that, they picture me eating rice and beans in some cold apartment for a decade. That's not what it was though, trust me. I wasn't doing the whole Dave Ramsey rice and beans thing. It was one decision made once, that freedom mattered more than spending right now. And then, well, I just never had to make that decision again. And that's the part that surprised me too a little bit looking back. See, once I decided that at the identity level, like this is who I am, I'm someone who chooses later over now, the daily willpower just, it wasn't needed. I wasn't fighting myself, resisting purchases every day. I had already decided who I was. So the frugal part wasn't actually the hard part. I would say that redeciding every single day, that would have been the hard part. And that's something that I think keeps a lot of people stuck. But I just skipped over it entirely. And even though I was saving like crazy, I wasn't really chasing a specific number exactly. See, I was looking at something bigger than the math. And around that time, I discovered that a whole different way of living existed. Anthony Bourdain's shows on TV, that book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, early digital nomad videos on YouTube, before that was even a phrase that people used. All these people traveling to exotic places, eating amazing food, and earning money along the way. I watched all of it, kind of obsessively, honestly. And I just knew that's what I wanted. I just had to figure out how to get there. So I started teaching myself affiliate marketing at night after working at car dealerships all day. Again, no safety net except the one that I was building myself, piece by piece. And after about 2 years of working on that side hustle, I was earning around $1,500 a month from it. But that income, that wasn't the retirement plan entirely. So I want to be clear on that because a lot of people mix it up a lot. It was only a small piece of it, as that small amount of income was just enough to cover my anticipated travel budget at the time. It was also proof that I could build a kind of life that I actually wanted. I didn't have to follow the script anymore. I could build something that didn't run through a car dealership or through some corporate ladder. The problem is that most people spend years waiting for a bigger number. I spent that time planning and building a foundation, the actual lifestyle that most people hope to have by 65 or 70, a lifestyle of freedom and travel. So how'd that plan and foundation actually hold up? Well, here's what really happened over the last 10 years. Today, the portfolio is sitting between $1.2 and $1.5 million, and we live on under $30,000 a year. And for comparison, the latest numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics say that the average retired couple in this country spend somewhere between $62,000 and $66,000 a year. That gap, to me, that's not sacrifice. That's design. It's 100 little refusals to accept cost as fixed just because everyone else treats them that way. See, right now we spend about $1,500 a month when we're home here in the US and around $2,000 a month when we're traveling. The portfolio is mostly VTI, a little bit of VGT, a paid off house, a small sliver of Bitcoin and gold, more aggressive than any advisor would tell a normal 65-year-old to hold. But honestly, a 39 or 49-year-old's retirement has to survive a much longer stretch than a typical one does. And keeping our spending low does something else too. Since our expenses are so low, we don't need much income. And by keeping our income low, I actually qualify for near free healthcare through expanded Medicaid. What I mean is I manage our income on purpose every single year to stay under the threshold for expanded Medicaid. That's literally how I get healthcare now. And anybody in the 41 states with expanded Medicaid can do the exact same thing. My wife, on the other hand, is on a pretty affordable marketplace plan while she's awaiting to attain US citizenship. And honestly, coverage has been great. Though this year, for the first time, I'm struggling to find a decent dentist who takes DentaQuest. That's the company who handles the dental side of Medicaid here. But I'm not too worried about it because a couple months ago in Vietnam, I got my teeth cleaned with x-rays for $11. Yeah, $11. And it was fine. Better than fine, actually. So, you're probably wondering, what do our days actually look like now? Well, 5 months a year, we're in Southeast Asia. We could be exploring Cambodia with 84,000 Buddha statues, watching dragon dances for Chinese New Year in Thailand, eating this amazing Vietnamese street pizza in Ho Chi Minh City, lion dances in Malaysia for the Lunar New Year, watching some Taiwanese grandpa make his legendary meatloaf out of pig stomach. It was surprisingly delicious. Or just standing under the craziest cherry blossoms that you've ever seen in Japan. Now, let me be clear. We're not staying in luxury resorts. Unless, of course, we get a free night from credit card points. But we do stay in nice, clean hotels and Airbnbs. We eat out basically every meal when we're over there, though we do try to cook when we can. The rest of the year, we're home here in the US. My wife likes to garden, as you might be able to see behind me. She loves to cook. We ride bikes together, go hiking, hit the gym 4 times a week, visit family out of state, go to concerts, a lot of them free, basketball and hockey games in the fall. People on Facebook give away tickets constantly. I mean, it kind of blows my mind what people give away for free. Now, we almost never eat out here in the States. The cost and tipping's gotten completely out of control. Plus, we both actually are pretty good cooks. So after 5 months of eating out, we're more than happy to just eat our own food here at home again. Sounds pretty amazing, and mostly it has been. But life happens, obviously. I mean, it wasn't instantly perfect, and a few things nearly broke along the way. COVID was the big one. That hit my portfolio the same way it hit everyone else's. Hard, fast, and honestly, terrifying to watch in real time. Inflation came a couple years after that, and as we all know, now every grocery run feels like a small punishment. But the one thing that never changed through any of it was the withdrawal rate. Honestly, the market wasn't really what got tested. What got tested was me. Whether I would panic sell and bail on the plan the second things got scary, like a lot of people end up doing. And I won't lie, there were definitely some nights where I would check my portfolio and get that 2 a.m. stomach drop where part of you almost believes that this time is really different. It wasn't. It never was. It never is. The withdrawal rate held because I held, not because the market did me any favors. But looking back, the thing that actually surprised me the most over 10 years wasn't the market at all. It was what never happened to my sense of who I was. See, for a lot of people, early retirement kicks off this whole reckoning. Like, who am I without the title, the badge, the calendar full of meetings? And I talk about that a lot on this channel, actually. Lucky for me, I never had that moment, not once, because I never let the job become who I was in the first place. Most of my family and friends still don't even know that I'm retired. Whenever somebody asks me, what do you do? And of course, they always ask, I just say, I do online marketing, which is technically true. And it explains why I can travel so much since I work online and for myself. It's the perfect answer for me. And it almost always ends the conversation before it turns into something much bigger. But here's what I noticed. There's no grief hiding underneath that sentence. I'm not avoiding the word retired because I miss being a manager. I'm avoiding it because there was never a manager identity worth missing in the first place. And that's led me to something that I'm only just now starting to really see. The identity crisis that people are afraid of when they think about retiring, it isn't actually caused by retirement. It was there already, quietly, way before they ever left the job. See, retirement doesn't create it. Turns out it just clears away a lot of the noise that was covering it up the whole time. But beyond the identity thing, a lot of people struggle with how their personal relationships shift after retiring. And for most people, their spouse is the big one. Lucky for me, I met my wife in Cambodia about a year after I retired. And honestly, I feel so blessed that she shares the same values and money habits that I do. See, this whole plan, it doesn't survive if the person next to you sees money differently than you. She's frugal in the same instinctive way that I am. A good saver, a good investor. So we never had to negotiate the money philosophy. It was just already there. And I know you might be watching this and you might be quietly worried that your partner's going to resent you for a life built around spending less or consuming less. That fear, it's real, so I get it. But what made this sustainable for me wasn't convincing someone to adopt my values. It was finding someone whose relationship with money already matched mine. So there was nothing to convince. Now, would I do it all again? Retire at 39? Heck yeah, without even thinking twice. At this point, it probably sounds like everything went according to plan. And mostly it did, except for one thing. And that is this YouTube channel. This was never part of any plan, trust me. I actually started it about 2 years ago, almost as an afterthought. Not because I needed the money. Thank God for that, because trust me, it's paid peanuts so far. I started it because I needed a little more structure back in my life. Something with a purpose behind it. See, retirement gives you all the free time in the world. But nobody warned you that too much unrestricted time can start feeling kind of aimless after a while. This channel, it gave me a reason to sit down and actually think things through and put something out into the world again. And honestly, the best part turned out to be hearing from people like you. People telling me how it helped them rethink their own plans or gave them a little more confidence to go after something similar. That part I didn't really expect. I just kind of wish that I started it 8 years sooner. Which brings up one last thing that I want to touch on. Who early retirement actually isn't for. Look, freedom isn't automatically the reward that everyone assumes it is. For somebody who needs external structure to build their days, somebody whose whole sense is wrapped up in a title, a white coat, a name on the door, taking a job doesn't free them. It just leaves them staring into a mirror with nothing looking back. I found that early retirement doesn't just hand you meaning. It simply takes away your excuse for not going out and finding it. If you don't already have something that you're retiring to, that empty calendar stops feeling like freedom real fast. It starts feeling more like a trap. All right, so if there's one thing that I hope actually sticks with you here, it's that none of this ever came down to some magic number in an account. It came down to 3 things that I actually had control over. What enough meant for me, the lifestyle that I built on purpose instead of following whatever script society handed me, and keeping my withdrawal rate low by spending on stuff that actually mattered to me, not whatever I was told that I was supposed to care about. That's really the whole point of the last 10 years. Not the $700,000 or the $1 million, not the withdrawal rate by itself, none of the math stuff really. Just the fact that most of what people assume is locked in place isn't. Now, if you're sitting there thinking that your own numbers might actually work, before you go tell anybody, before you make anything official, there's something that I would walk through first. I've got another video covering the 10 financial and legal things that I would make sure I lock down before you ever announce your retirement plan to the people in your life. A couple of those I almost missed myself. I'll leave that one linked down below. Before you go, I hope you found enough value in this video to consider subscribing to the channel. And remember, retirement isn't just a math problem. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll see you in the next one.